What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Yesterday I showed y'all, I took you on a tour, did like a part 2 tour of some of my collection, and I felt I did y'all injustice because the battery had died and the light went off, and I know y'all couldn't really see. This portion is definitely dedicated to retro boxing and documentaries. My brother, he was telling me before about his collection. You know, it got away from him, and I did a little tribute for him, but I want to finish up with some of these, some of the magazines and some books and what have you. But right now, this is a lot of where I get my information from. This is June and July 1958. Lightweight title fight at last, Australia. So these are my Australia ring magazines. And once a year, or at least twice a year, they would come out with a record book, you know, for that year. And this is the Australian record book, just to keep you up to date with what's going on. So I'm just walking you through this. And if you can see, what I'm about to show you, I think I told y'all when I introduced myself that I had every single Australian ring magazine, every last one. I have every single ring magazine that was produced in the United States, every last one of them, and I do. So I'm just going to kind of show y'all a little bit of what I have. So as you can see here, this is number 9. All right, this is number 10. Bugging here. This is number 9. You see these numbers? Volume 9, number 9. And it just goes down. Number 7, I have 8 on the other side. This is 9, number 6. All right. And that's 8 up there in the green. It's July 1959, June 1959, February, March, April 1959, November 1958. Some of them might be a little bit ahead of the other one, not sure. Let me see something here. Let's give you an overview for a quick minute. This is number 5, special edition. Let's see here. May, June 1962. January, February 62. October, November 61. June 61. Yeah, they kind of mixed a little bit. May 61. This is volume 5, number 1. February 52. January 52. Look here at these numbers here. This is K.O. Mandal, excuse me. 546, 547, 548 is behind for 549, 550, 551, 552. I try to keep them all in order so far. These are just a few of them. I couldn't possibly bring, my whole room would be filled up if I brought everything out here. This is 523. 530, 531, you can see behind there 532, 533, and in between there's a couple, 538, 539, 540, 541, 542. We are overview. This is 490, 491, 492, 493. It's my dog barking there. So I just pulled out a few books. These are some of the ring boxing albums that came out. Y'all gotta excuse my dog. I use him as a soundtrack. These are just a few books that I pulled out. Some training books. How to box. Came up by Nat Fletcher. Television boxing guy in the 50s. I have probably 20 of those. Brought out some record books. Got every last one of these. Bang. Boxing book 1938. Here you have Henry Armstrong and Barney Ross. Post record book. The boxing book 1935. Here you have 1938 edition of Boxing News Record. Spaulding's Boxing, Art of Self-Defense. Ringside Boxing Record of 1940. Joe Louis on the cover. He was champion at that time. How to Fight. Boxing record books. Different years. Here you have the Black Dynamite series, African American fighters. In this corner. And there's 42 world champions tell their stories. Some very interesting stories in there. Got a lot of information. And I wanted to write a book myself because I told Brother Blood Boxing this. You have self-defense. That I used to, hold on. Auto boxing. I used to go to nursing homes. So that's where it was with mine. I used to go to nursing homes all over, everywhere. And I would visit ex-fighters. And they would tell me their stories. And they would tell me how boxing was ran, the mob, and all the fighters. They would tell me gym stories, things that happen in sparring, things that happen in the gym. You would never hear about, you would never read about it in any magazine. And like I said, I spoke to a lot of fighters. And so I know the stories behind the scenes. I used to talk to Bert Sugar. Bert Sugar was the editor of Boxing Illustrated magazine. There's a couple of ring record books, 46. What's that one? 1945. And I just bought a few out. Have the entire ring record book collection, separate from what you're seeing here. These are the ones that I was using to do some of my projects. But I have the entire mint condition ring record book. All of that stuff is in a different location. Because in order to preserve these, you have to have temperature and it has to come out of the light. But yeah, Bert Sugar, I used to talk to him all the time. He used to come to Gleason's gym in Brooklyn because they were doing a show called Ringside. And, they were doing videos on heavyweights, light heavyweights, what have you. So I used to talk to him all the time. And he would tell me, I'm talking a total of probably about 15 hours of all the times that I spoke with him. And we would talk about the Sam Langfords, details a lot of people don't know about. We would talk about Bruce Flowers, Jack McVeigh, a lot of old fighters. And there's a fighter by the name of Benny Vogel. A lot of people have never heard of his name. He was a master fighter. He was better than Benny Leonard. You had a fighter by the name of Walcott Langford. A lot of people never heard of him. I have his profile. I'm probably one of the few that have his profile. And a lot of people don't know much of him. And a lot of, I had a lot of good times talking to Bert Sugar, R&P to him. And not only him, Michael Katz, I used to talk to him from he was a newspaper editor. I used to talk to a lot of people, a lot of newspaper people, ex-fighters. They're not around anymore. There was a guy by the name of Paul Cavalier. He had a brother by the name of Art Cavalier. And they ran the Lenny Shaw's boxing gym over in Totowa, New Jersey. You had Ace Murata in there. And they would tell me a lot of stories. Tiger Flowers and everybody. So I just wanted to give y'all an overview. So like I said, if I tell you something, I pretty much know what I'm talking about. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who do a lot of research. A lot of people who know things, they'll probably doubt me. That's fine. But I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for a long time. And I know the game very well. I study human physiology and anatomy. And I know what a man is vulnerable to. I know all his pressure points. I'm trying to show you something. So there's a lot of guys on the channels that talk. Tough guys, but you don't have to be a tough guy to be able to get the job done. It's about character. And I try to emphasize that when I show you some of the videos. I'll give you an example of Mike Tyson and Michael Spinks. And Michael Spinks knew. He understood from the very beginning. And he was intelligently trying to figure out a way. And that's why history repeats itself, because the same thing's going on now. You let a man fight himself out of a fight. You figure he's going to get picked off. And they tried that, and to be honest, Tyson tried that with Holyfield. It's happening right now. I'm not going to mention any names. And, it's just the way it is. That's the way it is. If you want to fight somebody, it's easy to fight them. Doesn't take much. Not even about money. Be honest with you, it's not about money. It's ego. Because your last name is what it's all about. Bojack's mother, his grandmother, excuse me. And she was like 103 years old. And she told him, no walker runs from no one. His real name was Sidney Walker. And what she meant by that is, your last name identifies you. Everything else is irrelevant. So it's about you. Man says something to you, he's got to prove it. Can't prove it, what he says means nothing. He's bluffing everybody else. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. Salute to the brother. Retro boxing and documentaries. Salute to all my subscribers. I'm rushing through this. Hopefully I got some good shots. All right, this Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Peace. I'm about to get in to do a few videos. I just wanted to show you guys this. Peace.